Welcome to Yoni Confessionz.
Unfiltered from A to Z.
We talk about everything,
Everything.
and completely unfiltered. Unfiltered. With wine.
Yeah, we talk about what they don't want to talk about.
But they sure think about it.
Hey, this is Jen and Alex. Hey, Alex.
Hey.
And this is Yoni Confessionz with a Z.
Right.
We talk about everything. This is unfiltered from A to Z. And this is our first podcast. Welcome, everybody.
Clearly.
Alex, why did you call me and say you wanted to do this podcast?
Because I'm nasty.
Oh, Lord.
Well.
Okay, what's the other reason when
Oh.
you called me or when I called you?
So the conversation came about because you have a blog that you're doing called My Body Rocks, where you're talking about as a personal trainer, how your body takes care of you and how you can take care of it and all those great things. But we have conversations about things that where we can vent to each other, and that things that happen with us in our particular season of life in regards to sexuality and relationships and children and careers. And so I thought, you and I couldn't be the only two on this planet that have all of these thoughts and questions and concerns and curiosities that, we can have these conversations. So I thought maybe you and I, because although we're very similar, we're very, very different with very, very different backgrounds. So I thought it would be a great pairing, if you will, connection because of what we can possibly offer listeners and maybe help someone, inspire someone. We're still growing ourselves in terms of things that we're learning about ourselves and about life. And as we're going on this journey, what we can possibly bring and help other people with. So that was how it kind of came about. And you were like, hey, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wow, somebody who's on my wavelength. Because briefly, I am the owner and founder of My Body Rocks, which is really a service-oriented business designed to nurture body confidence in women and teenagers, of course, in different ways, and to discuss different things, like you said, regarding aging, hormones, sexual intimacy, sexual health, relationships. For me, I'm fascinated by the body, from the brain to the toenails. Anything regarding the body, I am intrigued by. And I am a sex enthusiast because I am fascinated not just by having sex, but just everything that correlates to that. Relationships, how our bodies feel, how it's a stress reliever, how it can help us with our health, how it can mess up our health, if we're not mindful about it. And the other things that women go through that we just don't talk about, and like you said, I think that we're probably going to say things that women are thinking and not expressing. Because women may discuss certain things with their friends, they may discuss certain things with their mates, but they're just certain things that they don't even know other women think or feel or have issues with. So I think this is a great platform. And I've actually even discussed it with men, and they're excited because they're like, yes, please do, because women are too uptight. They're just too uptight, and I need them to loosen up. So if you can help them to loosen up.
Right, but I also think it's important for us in our community because I want to say similar to mental health awareness, that we as women, as Black women, we have a stigma attached to, certain things, and you're not allowed to do certain things, and you grew up a certain way, and, you're very rigid and very prude, and, oh, you can't do that, and boy, bye.
Yeah.
It's really, I know that, necessity is the mother of invention. And I felt like there's something like this was needed, especially for us to have a platform to vent, to discuss, and in a safe place as well. This is extremely judgment-free zone. Between the two of us, collectively, we got 100 years of experience. So we can really shed some light on a lot of things. Me, I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent, I'm a wife, ex-wife. I've been a wife, mother, so all the things that we experience in our, speaking of mother.
Unfiltered, y'all. Hey, we may not.
It is completely unfiltered.
So,
You will get all the real right here.
Exactly.
The real is on channel whatever that channel is. No, the real is
right here. The other real, the real is right here.
The real.
We could have called it that. The real.
real. You will have interruptions of grandkids and sons on my part.
It's all good though, because that's how, like you say, how we differ in a lot of ways. Let me just say, I met Phyllis. Where did that come from?
What'd you say?
I called you Phyllis for some reason. I just talked to a girlfriend before we started this. Okay, anyway. I met Phyllis in Atlanta. I met Alex.
My feelings are hurt. You called me the wrong name. Don't you know you ain't never supposed to do that?
Phyllis, I'm sorry. Did you
say how are you with me?
I didn't mean it.
Have we heard that before?
No. But we met when I lived in Miami through a mutual friend. And now I live in Atlanta. And then Alex followed me to, no, I'm just kidding. Alex eventually moved to Atlanta and we reconnected. And now Alex is back in Florida and I'm here in Atlanta. But we've stayed in touch because she was actually making comments on my private Facebook group with My Body Rocks. Thankfully, she and maybe a handful of other women were actually responding to some of my content because it was of a sexual nature. And I had a lot of people watching it, but nobody chiming in. So I was like, oh, thank you. Somebody has the balls to actually speak up and say, oh my God, yeah, that's a great topic. And I think that's what helped, you to say.
Okay. And it was usually wine induced.
Well, look, a lot of those video posts were wine induced because you have to admit sometimes for me, at this age and the club we're in the 50 club. I'm 50 plus and Alex just joined the club, if you don't mind me saying so, although age ain't nothing but a number. The older I get, the more confident I get and the less I could give a flying about what others think of me. And it's not that I just put myself out there any old kind of way, right. But I think my video posts and things that I talk about are because now I'm like, this is me, this is what I think, this is what I've been dealing with. And I think there are a lot of women who feel the same way. And I appreciate you offering, your opinions as well.
Yeah, I think it's definitely for a mature audience. Sure. We will have those conversations that are hard to have amongst your peers. But like you said, stuff that a lot of us think about, like you said, you were getting a lot of views, but no one would chime in. This allows you guys as listeners to be absolutely anonymous. You can send in questions or topics you want to hear, topics you want to discuss, people you want us to interview with, things like that. So you feel free to express whatever it is. And again, it's judgment-free zone. Like I said, between the two of us, we got a lot of experience and we could probably shed some light on some things that you might be thinking about doing, wondering if you should do it, and what it all encompasses, because it's, and like our name, Yoni Confessionz, Yoni is about the womb, and we are the only ones that have a womb, and that means women. So this is all about women and our journey and what we go through relationship-wise, career-wise, just across the board, whatever it is that we could possibly be experiencing.
And I will say that I've mentioned this to a few friends, and a male friend wants to be a part of this one day. Yay! He wants to remain anonymous, but he wants
what do you got to hide?
Well, hey, we all got something. We don't want to put it all out there, but he does.
And we can't be the real if we hide behind curtains here.
However, I am looking forward to getting his perspective,
Yes, absolutely.
and other male perspectives. But I think it's time that women have a platform to talk about what
Yes.
we expect from men and relationships. Because, there are plenty books out there and there are plenty men and women telling women how to get a man, how to keep a man, how to make a marriage work. And that's great. We'll probably chime in on that too. But I think it's also a great opportunity for us to tell men what we want, what we don't want, what we expect from them, what we think will help make our relationships better and things like that. I think we need that opportunity as well.
Can we start with a topic about lying?
No,
lying?
no. That's going to be another episode.
I know y'all want to hear about lying.
See, let me say,
They want to hear about lying.
Alex just had an experience, and I think that's a whole separate episode that we're going to do next. We're here first of all.
She's putting a muzzle on me. I know y'all want to hear about lying.
They're going to hear about it.
Stuff I needs to get off my chest about these cats lying. Why? Just why? Just why?
Well, let me say this. Since we went there, this is something I have said about relationships, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
The reason people lie is because of something they don't want to lose, something they want to keep, which is the same thing, or something they want to acquire. So they're deceptive because of their need to hold on to something, or their fear of losing it, or their desire to get something. Point blank. There's no other reason anyone lies is to avoid. No, in a relationship, he was lying because he wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants to keep you. He doesn't want to lose you. That's point blank. That's why
I
he
shouldn't drink because I forgot my point that quick.
Exactly, because that's the only reason he lied.
No, they lie also. Those are absolute truths. I will give you that. However, I think they also lie because they have no respect for themselves or for you. I think, oh man, see.
But see, that's more of a, you're going for a psychological thing. But the reason they decide, no, seriously. Yeah, they disregard the respect part because they're busy focusing on what they want. And that is what they want to have.
I think it's selfish. I think it's disrespectful. I think it's manipulative. Yeah, and it's games.
Yeah, and the problem is, people will do things regardless of, how they know the other person is going to feel, and
yeah. I had some good points, but I just lost them that quick because when you get 50.
See, that's why I was going to discuss this at another time. It's a whole nother episode.
I need to write stuff down quick because it goes.
You wanted to go there, but just for now, just to put a cap on this for now. This is leading into our next episode, which also has to do with something else that's been out there going viral lately. So we can kind of talk about that all in one.
Oh yes!
Okay?
Well, I can't wait to get to that episode because.
To sum up, why we're doing this podcast, is to really figure out why we think the way we think, why we do what we do, why people, and I don't want people, and I've had to put this disclaimer out there before with my company, is like you said, it's not to shame people, but it's really to help people acknowledge, well, I think this way because this is what I was taught to believe. This is what I was taught to think. And we're afraid of changing our mindset and our thought. No matter how spiritual you are or religious you are, there's always an opportunity to seek answers in another way, and things like that.
So that's growth. I mean, I think as long as you are learning, you're growing, you're exposing yourself to. I had this conversation with my mom. My mom just turned 76 last Thursday.
Happy birthday.
Somewhere in that ballpark. Thank God she's still with us.
Yeah.
But I have, she still tries to impose her thoughts and beliefs on me, and I'm 50.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grown. Like, why do you travel? Why are you leaving town? Why are this? Why is that? Why is this? And I'm like, Mom, I like travel. Well, what if the plane goes down? Mom, I'm more likely to get in a car accident than a plane accident. There's more cars on the road than there are planes in the air. But it goes to the thought process of how our parents, or the things that our parents instilled in us, and be married before you have sex, and before you have children, and all these old-fashioned traditional thought processes that, child, there's too much life in us, especially women like us. We are vibrant. We are go-getters. We are, my mom is just chilling. She's couldn't care less about traveling anywhere, going anywhere. As long as I come by and check on her, she's good.
And see, that's the thing. And even with religion and spirituality, like you said, and what people thought or believed 40, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, whatever, if you strongly believe in that and that has worked for you, then fine.
Yeah.
But if you ever discover that or parts of that is no longer working for you, and you know who you are authentically, then I think it's required of us in our lives, in our careers, in our relationships to change and adjust according to how we grow.
I think that word right there are so many layers to that we could peel back in terms of what your authenticity actually is. And do you know who you really are?
Mm-hmm.
Are you this image of who people expect you to be and or want you to be?
Mm-hmm.
And being that, are you being true to you?
Right.
On this journey, I've learned really, really late in my life. I'm learning who I am and what I want and what I don't want. But even though I've probably known some of these things, it was very difficult for me to actually verbalize it and or say it
Mm-hmm.
to anyone. I don't like that, or to create those boundaries. I was like I've had some really huge aha moments lately with my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding why it was like turning on a light switch, like, oh, that's why I do what I do, or that's why I did what I did, or why I accepted the things that I have accepted, versus creating boundaries and things like that. So the authenticity of who we really are as individuals, do we know? I mean, there's so many layers of that you can actually peel back,
right,
and try to identify with, who am I? What do I want?
And I think that is what scares a lot of people. And since we're talking about women, I think women in particular, a lot of them grow up, like you say, saying, okay, well, this is expected of me. As a woman, I should be this. As a Black woman, I should be this. As a woman who has a career, I should be this. As a mother, I should be this. As a wife, I should be this. But I say, as your own unique person, who should you be?
Right.
How should you think? What do you need to, how do you need to evolve?
I think it's difficult for us to identify that, though, when we've been living in this shadow of an image of what people expect us to be. We're supposed to be strong. We're supposed to be, like you said, all these things. I think it's difficult to figure out, how do we as an individual, how do I look in the mirror and say, okay, Alex, who are you and what do you want for your life moving forward? It's never too late, as they say, but what do you want? What do you want the rest of your life to look like? God willing, you have another 50 years on this planet. What is it that you want it to look like? And what are you going to do about making it look that way?
Right.
That's the next thing.
And it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change the way you've always lived your life, as long as it's in your best interest. And, there's a book called The Mastery of Love by Miguel Reeves. And he says that sin is really going against yourself. Different cultures, the vernacular may be different, the semantics may be different, but for him, the definition of sin is to go against yourself, because God is within you, your own spirit. You have to follow your spirit and what you know God's love means for you. So when you go against what you know is in your best interest, and it doesn't mean to be totally selfish and not regard other people, but if you go against who you really are, that's sinful, because that's not what God desires for you. God wants you to be you, you know? And so I think that's important for me. I think growing up as an artist, as a dancer, as a young girl, being able to just be free and dance and have my parents' support, that gave me a certain kind of confidence that I didn't know I had. I was just like running across the street in a leotard, at a young age, because why
You've
not?
just always been comfortable in your skin.
I've been comfortable in my skin, and I've always dealt with people teasing me, talking about me, and that made me feel uncomfortable. So then I started kind of repressing my personality a little bit, because other people couldn't accept me just being me. I was showing off, I was bragging, and really I was just like happy being who I was. And now I'm so grateful that I overcome that, because I'm still that same person. I didn't allow all that chatter to keep me from who I am, because if I had, I wouldn't be the creative person I am today. And so to speak to what you're talking about, it's like other people won't feel comfortable with who you are, and that's okay. And that's what I have to deal with, is other people not being comfortable with who I am. So as long as you know who you are and you're comfortable with that,
And I think though, coming up through the ranks, when you're in, a teenager, and then you're in your early 20s and your early 30s, you don't know who you are. You really are. And then and it's kind of like, it becomes root process where you are just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And then you've been molded, as opposed to you actually, because like you said, those things oppressed who you were. So although you became great and you were a freaking amazing dancer, choreographed for the Heat, like you were out there. But I wonder, had those couple of years where you were stifled, where you would have been, had you not had that stuff, that's it that you were dealing with I had to deal with the same thing. People have thought processes about me that are nowhere near true, that I had to finally
because you're this pretty. I'm gonna put it out there. This is a whole nother topic too that we can expand on. I'm gonna be honest. Look, I'm a short, petite, brown girl with short hair right now. And you're this beautiful, voluptuous, light-skinned woman with a lot of hair, and you capture attention. No, I'm serious. I'm being serious. And this is just, it's facts. It's facts. And you have to admit that you've dealt with, you can get attention, or you can get positive attention because of that. You can also get judgmental attention, because they just think, oh, she thinks she's this because she looks like this. They don't know how smart, they don't know how intelligent you are. They don't know what your spirit is like. They don't know that fun-loving side. They just assume because you walk in a room and you can be all that you're a certain type of way. And it's and that's the stigma. And a lot of women will think that about a woman like you way before a man. That's a whole different subject. But we as women, and as Black women, the whole colorism thing, the whole jealous thing, and oh, she thinks she cute. We've been getting that since we were children. Oh, she thinks she cute, right? And some of you women, y'all know y'all were the ones who did it. You were one of those who were like, she thinks she cute. Don't hate other people because they're just being their authentic, fun-loving self, because you start squashing their esteem that they had because of your insecurities.
And I've had to, on so many occasions, and which I learned again later in life, my light. I would dim my light to make others around me feel, versus being, it's been, when I say recent, I mean really recent, where I've really just given, the GNF. I'm like, it is what it is. I am who I am. And once you get to know me, you'll know I'm not who you perceived me to be. That thing, your perception becomes my reality is real. It is absolutely real. But it's same for both of us. We have both dealt. So me on the outside looking in at you, knowing how what an amazing dancer you are, how professional you are, your body is amazing. Like all these things, like, oh man, I could never imagine you having any kind of stuff that people would be accepting of you, or they would be judgmental of you. And on the flip side of that, you look at me and say, oh, da 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 da. But we both, and this goes with every woman. We all have our stuff. We all have insecurities. We all have stuff that we're dealing with internally that we have no clue. And this is the place to let that all out. Like, just let it breathe. Get in there, let it breathe, and realize that you are not alone.
Yes.
All going through the same stuff.
Yes. And you know, to be honest, I would say there have been times when I have felt invisible, going out socially. And I love all my friends, and I have very physically beautiful and very intellectually and just overall beautiful friends and associates. And sometimes going out physically, I was dwarfed and I was overlooked by men. I know I was. And I felt it, and sometimes it kind of brought me down, because I'm like, you know, not against my friends, never that, you know, because I love being around confident women and confident people. I don't like being around people who are insecure and all that, because to me, that can be negative energy. But I did feel the lack of attention, and not just wanting to be just out there, but knowing that if that person actually got to see me and know me, you know, imagine, but the eyes and the focus is somewhere else, because other people stand out more than I do. And my best relationships have come from men saying, you know, when I see you and I really spend time with you, you know, you're beautiful, you know, inside and out. But sometimes out there socially, there was a feeling of kind of being invisible.
Because there's a preference, or you know, aesthetically what they think they're looking for, but it really, you know, but I also think too, though, this is that in this season where we are, I think a lot of that is no longer the priority. I think in this season where we are, I think guys that are where we are looking past the actual just physical.
Right.
Yeah, guys, they you know,
they're gonna like what they like, you know.
Yeah, there's somebody for everyone.
Right.
Tall, short, big, small, whatever it is, there's somebody for everyone.
Right.
But I think in this season, though, that even for me, it there's this kind of weird thing happening between I attract this age and this age. I'm like, so if I go to the house with Pops, and his 37-year-old son is there, 37-year-old son is like, wow, who is that, Pops?
Wait, did y'all, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but what's the show with Will and Grace? And she ended up dating this guy. Then she dated his dad and the son. It was just,
see that. Or if I go to the house with the 37-year-old, which I probably wouldn't, because that's a little bit too young for me, but depending on his level of maturity.
Right. Well, I don't think she was worried about how mature he was. The son was. It was all an entanglement, and we'll get to that word later.
Not the entanglement.
Quite an entanglement, but that's what made
Stay tuned for that one. But say I go to the house with a 40-year-old, I'll give him 40. And Pops is 60-something. You know, Pops looking at like, I'm right in that. This is a weird phase.
But it's good though, because you know,
as a single woman,
as a single woman, it's good. And a single woman, I think we have that zest for life.
Yeah.
Where we can, you know, I won't go below 40 right now, or much below 40, you know. I can't. I can tell someone who's in their 30s like that. So between 40 and like early 60s, depending on their,
that's right. What they bring and coming to the comic. Anyway,
But we digress. Okay.
But yeah, it's a weird space that I'm in right now with that dating circle of, who's coming at me, when they're 30 and look, there's nothing you can do but introduce me to your daddy. I mean, there's nothing you can do for me.
See, I don't have the patience for anybody like who's too immature because the way they communicate, what they can relate to, it just gets on my nerves. I'm like, I don't have time to do some of the things the way you do it. It's just not attractive.
So for me, my daughter she'll be 32 on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost count. And my son is 26.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, anything in that range,
Right.
No, partner, I could be your mama.
Mm-hmm.
And I got these. No, not doing it.
Exactly.
Some women out there, again, this is a judgment-free zone. That's just not for me.
Right.
Now, depending on what your needs are, I understand.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I understand, but it's not for me. You're cute.
That's what you want? Go for it. And that's what we will tell you all the time. We will encourage you, whatever it is. Like for us, even as our first episode, we had to overcome a lot of fear, of concern, of questions. Like, what will y'all think? But
Girl. Look.
We're here and we want to encourage every one of you. Whatever it is that you guys want, whether it be a man, a young man, an old man, a job, a relationship, a new career, anything, go for it. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose?
Yeah, and it's funny you brought up the whole thing about us doing this podcast because for me, while I'm comfortable in my skin, there are two things. I know a lot of people can't handle me, who I am. But you know what? That's on them. And the other part is I also want to respect the people in my life that I've dealt with because they didn't ask for this. So I'm not going to expose all my business if for nothing else to respect other people's privacy, So I will share. I'm a transparent person. Most people know I'm rather transparent with a lot. I think that's why a lot of people relate to me as their coach, as their trainer, and things like that, because I allow myself to share who I am so they can relate to me. And I think that's important, and I think we will do that. But then I also want to respect, the privacy of others that I've dealt with because they didn't sign up for this.
Well, we can share our experiences without exposing who they were with.
Exactly. But I just want to put that out there. So anybody listening, y'all think I'm talking
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Right. Or if you think I'm talking about you, I might be. But what you gonna do? You gonna come on here and say you're talking about me? Probably not. So
no, we will. Whew, we got a whole. There's so much stuff.
We've got a lot of subject matter. Wait, do we have time? Because I need a wine break.
You need a wine break?
I need to get some more wine.
Bring your wine to the table, girl.
Okay, well I tell you what. Well,
right,
it's white wine today, so I want to keep it chilled, and I didn't get my little.
Oh, gotcha.
I need to get a wine
bucket
so I can just keep it right here. That's what I didn't do.
So while you're getting your refresher, I will. So we are wine drinkers, as you can see. This was a wonderful gift from a great friend of mine.
You tell people about your work.
Dinner is poured. That's how much of a wine drinker. But I'm red. She loves whites, or she loves them all. To me, white is a waste of calories. I would prefer the reds. But I remember starting as a wine drinker, not knowing what was what. So we will, on occasion, recommend some wines for if you ladies are wine drinkers or listeners are wine drinkers, what are good wines. I prefer and am partial to blends, which can be a myriad of different blends. I like them a lot better than actual just Merlot or Cab or what's the other one?
Wars.
But I prefer the blends. So tonight I am having, which is pretty good. It was a birthday gift actually from a girl, my other girl, Jay. Sterling Vintner's collection. So no, we are not getting sponsored or any of that stuff. This is just an actual like.
Well, you know what? I like a Shiraz.
Yes, that's what
I like a lot of red wines. Malbecs are a little too hard for me right now. I haven't developed that palate yet for Malbecs. They're very
that's a
dry.
heavy. That's really heavy. Very full bodied.
But yeah. I like all reds that aren't too sweet. So everything that you mentioned along with
Shiraz, Pinot Noir. Yes, but those blends that I'm partial to will have a percentage of each of those in it depending on the vineyard.
Yeah, I love blends.
Yes, yeah, me too.
When it comes to like warm weather, so by the time spring comes around, I like to do rosés and I like to do whites just because they're nice and cool.
It makes sense.
And so my favorite is a Chardonnay, and but I also like rosés and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm chilling with the cold.
The one white that I do like is what's called a Chenin Blanc.
Okay.
It's like it's right in the middle of, because I don't like them really, really sweet, like the Proseccos and the what's that one that starts with an M? Prosecco.
Moscato.
Moscato.
I will only do a Moscato.
Yeah,
Moscato is like if you have a dessert. Only time I do Moscato is if I'm having a dessert and it'll pair with that. But typically, I don't like Moscato.
Yeah, it's like sugar. That's like drinking sugar. To me, it's like drinking a glass of sugar.
Yeah. Typically, if
I'm gonna waste my calories, I'm gonna waste them on a red.
I feel you. I like to mix it up, you know. How much time we have, Alex?
So we're at 8 minutes. So ladies,
Goodness.
Again, we thank you for participating. Hopefully this will excite you about what's to come. And if you have any topics or things that you want to discuss, or even in the email, you can just say, you know what, I just needed to release this. That's fine. Everything is anonymous unless you ask us to point it out, but we might, depending on what you request, but everything is, again, judgment-free zone. It's anonymous. It's a safe place to discuss whatever it is.
Anything. We'll figure out a way to discuss it.
A to Z.
You know what we should do, Alex? What? I thought about this in the shower the other day. That's just where I get ideas and got to.
Ooh, what a visual. Ooh.
Since we're doing... What is the shower?
Just let the water just cascade.
A to Z. We should have people chime in and say, what letter do we deal with today? So if they say like F, or if they say P, or if it's like I, we should think, would that be? Yeah. We got to filter out, y'all, what we can, so what's going to be censored on these podcasts.
But you know what we saying.
Right. But I figure it might be fun, like for either fans or us to choose a letter of the day. So if it's L or if it's M or whatever.
Like masturbation? Like we talk about masturbation. Yeah. Yes, ladies, we'll be talking about masturbation.
Yes, T for toy.
Hold on, I gotta see where my child went.
Okay.
Hello? Okay.
Alex, you're gonna have to find a way that you can.
No, I told him to
be
leave.
Unfiltered.
I told him to leave when we do a podcast. So, because I don't want to. But whatever.
We'll figure that out.
Masturbation, toys. So that'll be the T. That'll be the M. The womanizer, which is a toy that I've heard about, but I haven't tried.
Yes,
I gotta do some like reviews.
Get some toys. Yes.
We can do some reviews.
I think that'll
be right back.
Exactly. So I think that'll be really fun for us to just like, pick a topic, pick a letter from A to Z. Let's see, I don't know what Z will be. So you guys who are watching us, just send us in a letter and we'll make sure we cover that letter as a topic one day, just for fun.
And only you will know. So we're going to broadcast every Wednesday. Did we figure out a time yet? Really, y'all, this is really new. We really, for real.
We'll let you know what time we're going to air.
No, we need to let them know now. Did we say like Do we have a slide? Oh, it's just on
It
Spotify.
doesn't matter what time, it's a podcast. They just
It's on all the
it,
podcast
they want
platforms.
to see it.
Oh, see, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so
We'll release it on Wednesday. So
on Wednesdays. So there'll be new episodes every Wednesday.
yes.
And yeah.
So you want to go to Yoni Confessionz with a Z on the end. So you can email us, yoniconfessions.com.
No, confess at yoniconfessions.com.
I'm sorry, confess at
Yeah, see, it's new, y'all. It's new, for real, for real. Confess.
It is all written down here anyway. It's written.
Oh, yeah. Click a link. There'll be a link there. Click the
We're
link.
on IG, Yoni Confessionz, at Yoni Confessionz. We have a Facebook fan page, Yoni Confessionz. And we also have a YouTube, Yoni Confessionz.
What was the last one?
YouTube, where you can see.
YouTube and Twitter. So Twitter is at YConfessionz. I don't know why they did that. I tried Yoni, but whatever. But yeah, so Twitter, Facebook.
Make sure you like us and subscribe. Click on all the links. Please subscribe and like us so that we can just get out there and we can get people to support us and, you know, get this community going. We just want to be available for you all to just really enjoy and engage with us.
Yeah, what she said.
It's been fun. Our first one.
Yay!
I don't think it's gonna work.
Finally. Cheers. Okay, ladies, we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Okay, see you soon.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and like us on our Facebook page at Yoni Confessionz. Remember, with a Z.
Follow us on Twitter at YConfessionz and subscribe to our Yoni Confessionz YouTube channel.
If you have any questions, issues, or topic ideas, our email address is confess@yoniconfessions.com.
And remember, it's Confessionz with a Z at the end.